Hello everyone, it's Janine from The Journey with Janine, and I am here to talk all things mindset, mindfulness to maximize the magic in your life. Today, what we're talking about is revolutionizing your relationship. So what relationship you're talking about, Janine, right? One of the most important relationships that we can have within our lifetime is the one that we cultivate within ourselves. It honestly is a compass of how we interact with other people, with how we give and receive, with the way that we forgive and that we set boundaries and allow freedom and spaciousness and grace. So being able to take time to really sit with yourself and identify what a revolutionary relationship looks like within yourself, for yourself, with yourself, is going to maximize everything else that you do in life. So the first thing that you want to think about is, how do you deal with relationships in general? When you think about whether it's your spouse or your partner or your friends or family members, what boundaries do you think are important? What attributes are important for you to enjoy play and connection and trust and forgiveness? Like thinking about all those things, what makes it what it can be? So maybe even taking a moment to grab a journal, grab a pen, piece of paper, and write down your list, your quote-unquote list that you have for what a great relationship looks like. And maybe you sit with yourself and just kind of allow that to permeate, marinate, so that you can really get a taste of what that can be for yourself. And then once you've done that, also take time to identify what areas of yourself you don't love. The parts of your relationship within yourself that are toxic or are not helping you transform, they're not helping you move forward into the person that you want to be. Let's say you're doing all this stuff for other people. You are generous and overextending yourself and just always there. You're showing up, you're reliable, you're responsible, like people can count on you. But maybe they're not doing the same and you become to get upset or maybe even resentful about that. Take a moment to see the mirror and look at how you're showing up for you. Because think about it, and I'm sure some people have heard this saying before, is whenever you're saying yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. So a lot of times it feels so good to be externally affirmed by other people when we're giving them things or helping them out or offering generosity. We want to keep those, but we want to find balance with that so that we're also still saying yes to ourselves. Because everything is black and white, night and day. We need balance. So being able to find that perfect balance, that beautiful dance with the way that you give and receive, the way that you love yourself, the way that you love others, is going to help you be able to navigate life a lot more easily. So once you've identified those things that maybe need some love, you're showing up for other people all the time, you're creating a little bit of resentfulness, then it's like, okay, what's missing within myself? What is it that I'm really seeking? How is it that I need to show up for me? And then we can start peeling back those layers and being able to work on those attributes. So the next part of cultivating and revolutionizing your relationship with yourself is going to be by doing small, digestible, attainable things. I know that we have such a large resource of information nowadays. There's self-help books, there's YouTube, there's Instagram and Facebook and coaches and mentors and all of these retreats and therapy, and there's so many options, and we can really get inundated with all of the resources that are available. So the key here is you've got to take a bite of something, take one small aspect of something and commit to that. Consistency and persistence is really what allows us to transform. It's what really allows us to have change. So similar to the Grand Canyon, we've got to be able to take that time and allow ourselves to mature in our development, in our self-love, in our self-care practices, in our discipline, in our self-accountability and respect to cultivate that relationship. It's not something that happens overnight. If you think about the relationships that you have with your friends or your spouse or family members, they're really good relationships. They're great because of the time. It's really easy to meet somebody and go to a concert, go out to dinner and have some drinks or whatever it is that you want to do and have an amazing time. You can have a great time with people in one day and be done. But over time, we get to know people's shadows and their faults and their flaws and the way that they show love and receive love. That's when we can really identify if a relationship is fruitful. And so we have to give ourselves that time too. And a lot of times in the way that things have been set up for us to learn, grow, and transform, we haven't spent enough time with ourselves to even identify how our relationship is with ourselves. What we like and what we enjoy, and how we deal with the parts of ourselves that don't feel very good and that aren't very comfortable. A lot of times we've been guided to just do something that brings us joy instead of approaching those difficulties face forward. So I just invite you to do that. And shadow work, if you've never heard of that before, is a really great practice that you can use to do this. And essentially it's composed of different journal prompts, or even just sitting with yourself and taking a moment to say, you know what, okay, like I need some guidance on what makes me uncomfortable. And maybe you just sit, you take a deep breath, and then allow it to come through to you. Allow yourself to become aware of what's still causing you some tension internally. What makes you uncomfortable when you're by yourself, or even when you're in a big group of people? Things that create a little bit of like ickiness within you that you have to be able to soothe, whether it's through being on your phone, or going to eat something, or talking more than you usually would. We have all of these different coping mechanisms to deal with things that make us uncomfortable. So it's important to peel those back to really see what the root cause of the problem is, so that we can soothe it, we can solve it, and then we can revolutionize that aspect of our relationship. One other layer that you can add to the process of revolutionizing your relationship is to take a survey or take inventory of the 8 layers of wellness. And so there's a wheel of wellness that a lot of people use in the mindfulness spaces, psychology, all that kind of good stuff. And basically it's taking inventory of how is your social, emotional, mental, physical, all those varieties of health that we have, right? Financial, and just how we show up in our purpose. So all those types of things. And maybe instead of saying, oh my goodness, I want to do all of these things in a week, and journal and have all your notes and have it in this awesome notebook that we know sometimes we write a bunch of good stuff in, but then we put it to the side and we never do anything. That one, I know that y'all know what I'm talking about. So instead of doing that, approach it one thing at a time. Take one bite, take one step, and really focus on that for maybe 30 days. 30-day challenges are so helpful, and there's actually a lot of research behind them that says that having that specific time frame that's more than a week, but like less than a year essentially, can really help you hone into practices that you want to cultivate and have sustainable throughout your year and throughout your life, while allowing yourself these nice bite-sized times to move from one activity to the next fluidly. So let's say you start off with emotional, right? Maybe you journal. Maybe you start meditating. Maybe you talk to some people that you've had some challenging experiences with and resolve some of those issues that you've had with them to free yourself of whatever has happened and transpired in the past. That's just an example of something that you can do. So the biggest thing, of course, is that you want to take it slow. You want to take it category by category, step by step, day by day, month by month, year by year. Growth is a long-term process. We are constantly growing, and the journey never really ends. And it's the beginning part of revolutionizing that relationship. So I hope that this was helpful for you today and that you found something that resonated. I'm sending you all so much love, joy, and light, and just good vibes as you cultivate a revolutionary relationship with yourself. So have a good one. I'll talk to you later.